in Riverton, in Cheyenne, and the uttermost parts of the world. And so, Lord, we ask that you would indeed continue to guide and lead Gail and I, this congregation. We thank you for what you're doing and have done and are going to do. And we ask this in your precious name. Amen. Excuse me. Pardon? I had to turn it off because here we go. How many have been to Australia or New Zealand before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don's the only one who went involuntarily. He was one of the original conscripted guys, that went to Australia. No, he was in the Navy, the same thing. Yeah, pardon? Yes, penal colony, yes. Here's the next question. How many of you would like to go to Australia and New Zealand? Mark? I think, Mark, you better raise your hand. Which is interesting. Every time Gail and I have talked about Australia and New Zealand, invariably, everybody says, I've always wanted to go there. I have to be absolutely honest. I had never, ever wanted to go to Australia. And in fact, I was actually signed up for, it was called World Presbyterian Missions at the time, and I was all signed up to go to Chile because I had Spanish as a second language, and I was headed to Chile, and about a month before I was to leave, there was a coup in the country. Pinochet was the president then. There was a coup, and all the missionaries were kicked out. And so I was packed with no place to go, and by God's providential design, missionaries from Australia were visiting Covenant College that week, as was the chairman of Mission to the World, or World Presbyterian Missions. And in 1 week, I had unpacked for Chile and packed for Australia. And the rest, they say, is history. Okay. But that is what we'd like to share. We'd like to share a little bit of how God has orchestrated our lives by his wonderful design, and took us as a family. Well, first of all, let me just use the slides. All right, here we go. That is summer of 1980. Gail landed from Perth, Australia to Covenant Theological Seminary in St. Louis, Missouri. That same year was the year that I just told you about, that my bags got packed for Australia. So we never met our first year, okay? Or I was in Australia, she was in St. Louis. Then I came back. Her second year in seminary was my first year at Covenant Seminary, and we met. And a year later, we were engaged. And a year later, we were married in Australia, in Perth, Western. So I spent a year ministering in Australia on both coasts, Perth and Brisbane. And Gail was at Covenant Seminary. And then we were married and signed our lives away. And Gail looked at me nicely. Whoops. Oh, I keep doing it. And 4 kids later. Yeah. So this was actually a church. I was an assistant pastor out in Spokane, Washington. So this was Christmas of 91. Yes, 91. And then in 92, I was called back to be a missionary and pastor in one of the churches that I helped to plant back when I was single at Maida Vale Presbyterian Church. And this is what we looked like when we landed about a few months later. So as you can see, our kids were all born in the States, but this was their age when we ended up as a family in Australia. That's the Perth skyline in the very back. And this is the church that I helped to pastor. I was a co-pastor at Westminster Presbyterian Church at Maida Vale. And Westminster Presbyterian Church was a newly formed denomination, the Westminster Presbyterian Churches of Australia. But I was a part of only the third congregation or fourth when we were there. Gail's parents helped start a church in the northern suburbs. This was in the eastern suburbs of Perth. And so I worked with Gail's parents when I was single and saw her picture on the mantelpiece, and the rest they say. And this was our first home, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 4 kids. What's that? Big yard. In a big yard. And what'd you say? It worked. That's right. It worked. Then just as they grew, and favorite pastime was fishing, and it was always part of our things that we did, obviously going to the beach and fishing. The various sports that our kids got involved with, not too many would recognize. I mean, this is rollerblading, but it's also field hockey. And then body surfing, of course, boogie boarding. Megan, is the fiercest of all, of course, and Robbie. And then cricket, and you'll see some cricket. Well, we couldn't find our cricket bat, but there's the cricket wickets. The cricket wickets are in the back over there, and they call it a sticky wicket. Is a phrase there for it covers a whole multitude of sins. And this was the church when our farewell, when we came back here to pastor the church in lovely Lander, Wyoming. And this is what I looked like back then. And our kids were about this age. This was a year after we arrived. And they went from the white sands beaches of Perth, Australia, to white snow at White Pine. They took to snowboarding, Megan skiing very, very quickly. You recognize the old sign, and then I'm going to show just a few pictures of field buddies that I've had over the years, with Fathers in the Field being something that this church helped to start. The youngest boy with the flowery shirt is our grandson Jonah, and on Gray is up there. Can you see Gray? That's Gray Plunkett. He was a guide for our turkey shoot, and this was when last spring was Jonah and another I Guide Youth up there at Hewlett near Devil's Tower. This is the Amish group that we helped to take in the back mountains on their final year-end adventure for Fathers in the Field out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And then, of course, who couldn't forget decorating the tree? Remember who this is? Amen, Adora, and Adora. Yep. And of course, who's the man behind me? Dennis Zaft. Yep. And we had the Austrian band here. Many good times of fellowship here. And then there's the old guys. Here's the young guys. And that's such incredible memories for us and the fellowship that we've enjoyed. Many more pictures, obviously. I just needed to contain myself in putting pictures in there. And then this is our family. Last August, we had a family reunion. Megan's little baby Noble had just been born, and so we have 4 children, obviously, and 8 grandchildren. So God has blessed us richly, and we are indeed indebted to God for the blessing of being here for 25 years, back here for 25 years for me. And I just am very filled with emotion as I look forward, as Gail and I look forward. But we believe it's God's leading, and I believe you will agree once you get a new guy, and that God is moving, and God is always providing for His church. And so we are confident of that for you, and I pray that you'll be confident of that for us, that God is leading us. What's that?
With reservations.
What, you have reservations for Perth? Oh. Oh, gotcha. I see. Reluctance, is that what you're trying to say? Thank you. We're glad you don't want us to leave, but it's indeed been a real privilege to serve here at CPC. It actually came about a year ago. We had the country director for Mission to the World from Australia staying in our home. We're good friends with the country director, and the couple that came with them to visit were individuals. They weren't married then. In our youth and young adults group, came with them. He's now an elder in the country director's church, and he really, just basically bore his heart, saying what is happening in the church in Australia. Even Westminster Presbyterian churches. It was blowing and going in the 90s, up until the time that we left. No, it wasn't because, no, actually at the end of before the end of the century, we had over 30 some churches across Australia. Let me show you This is the team, by the way. This is the Mission to the World team for Australasia. Not all of them, but we met at General Assembly in Chattanooga this past summer, and we had a booth to introduce prospective missionaries and pastors and families and lay people about the ministry opportunities in Australasia. And it was certainly a joy. This is what Australasia looks like. You have Australia, of course, New Zealand down, and then you'll see a green dot up in the my upper right is Vanuatu, and Fiji you can see is all part of. So it's the Pacific Islands, Australia, and New Zealand is what Mission to the World we call Australasia. And so this is how kind of the churches are distributed. Now there's only 16 congregations in all of Australia. So one of the job descriptions that I will have will be to try and unite a vast distance these churches back again and being cohesive and developing a national identity that they've kind of lost. And as you can see, the distance is vast. There's 10 or 12 churches in the Perth area, only one in Sydney. You'll see and then one in the little dot, blue dot, in kind of the central right is Canberra, which is the Australian territory, like our Washington, D.C., and up north is Queensland. and there are just 2 churches there now. There were 8 when I was there before. So through distance, through attrition, through poor training, a lot of national issues have arisen that there's a real incredible need for the churches there, a church that Gail and I grew to love. You'll recognize that, no doubt. That's the Sydney area. What's it called? Sydney Opera House, okay. 2 lovely ladies on tour on the ferry, and one not so lovely person in front of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. But I'll be helping primarily in Australia. We'll be living mostly in Perth area, but we will spend time, as I say, in New Zealand as well. This is just a nice place to write a book. And this is how far it is across the country, the continent. This is actually a screenshot of when I was flying from Sydney over to Perth, 4.5-hour flight to get there. Yes, I did. I've been on the Nullarbor plane when I was single, young, single, and stupid. No, not in that order. But anyway, with another young single guy, we drove across, and I can't point it out, but we went up Sydney, and Brisbane is about 800 miles north of Sydney. So we went all the way across to Sydney, up through the Australian territory, and then into Brisbane. 4,200 miles.
All paved roads?
No, they weren't yet. Not all of them. And so anyway, that's this is the one of the churches. Robbie actually was a member of this church when he was over there. The country director, Richard Bailey, and his wife TJ are the pastor. He's the pastor there, and this was a fellowship meal that they had afterwards. Men's groups looks familiar, and this will be one of the things that I'll be doing over there, leading men's groups as well. It's a tough job, okay, but somebody has to evangelize the beach-going people. These are the beware of animal crossings you don't see every day here. But this is something really fun. Toy library. I'm going to have Gail come and speak now just a little bit about what she might be doing over there. But this is where she got the idea. When she had 4 little kids, this is where it started as a community outreach. So, thanks.
There, I'm not going to be running a toy library because they're community cooperatives. So very few of them are sponsored. That's just very typical in Australia and New Zealand. Toy libraries have taken off, and they have a toy library association, and so they don't need one to be sponsored by a church. The ways that the church reaches out over there, especially to women in the community, is a lot of churches have a play group. Playgroup is where you just come and the kids play and the moms have morning tea, and actually our toy library is functioning as a playgroup in a very small space, so that would normally have a bigger space. But churches will have playgroups, and then they do craft mornings. That's a very popular way to invite ladies from the community. They will just have craft every Thursday morning or whatever day, and invite women to come. So I didn't do a lot of that when we first got there. Our kids were little and they went into school, and I was very busy with the school community, interacting with our neighbors in the school community. But I did do Bible studies, and that's something they also do as we do, and that's probably more where I will fit back in, with maybe not a weekly Bible study because the time that we're going to be there is shorter, but conferences. There's a lot of desire to have a women's conference and bring women together, or short-term evening studies, because generally the Bible studies are in the morning, the weekly ones. So maybe some short series. Whoops, I touched that, did it? Oh, okay. Some shorter series. And then just encouraging pastors' wives, especially if they are international, because I've had a lot of experience with adjusting internationally, and especially with cultures that you don't expect to go to and find yourself feeling out. You know, most people think the Australian culture and the US culture would be very easy to just jump right in, and what happens is everything is just subtly different. Almost everything. The language starts to sound different, the vocabulary, like who knows what a boot and a bonnet is if it's not something you put on your head or your feet. It's the trunk and the hood of your car. And, a sidewalk is a footpath, and a mailman is a postman or a postie, because Australians shorten everything. And all of a sudden, but it's deeper than that. It's culturally, you just think differently about things. And so, especially American families that have gone over with children of a certain age, like middle school, high school, they don't expect their kids to struggle as much as they do, but school's really different. So just being able to share some of the cross-cultural challenges, especially when you're traveling with a family. And so as we go into that, I go as a support role. Scott is the primary one, but there's lots of places where I can support him and maybe support the women in that role. And I just have to say before we leave that if the map of Australia was up there, and most of you know this, if you flip it upside down, it fits almost directly over the continental US. So Australia is as big as the continental US. And flying from one side is like flying from New York to San Francisco and traveling across, except it's mostly empty of desert and kangaroos and cattle and sheep. I think that's all. Yeah.
So this slide is, if you remember all the people that are outside giving us a farewell, this is the church that Gail and I were married in, Maida Vale, Westminster Presbyterian Church, Maida Vale. It's now, as you can see, I don't know if it says it at 8:30, it's Perth Revival Church, meets in English at 8:30, 11 o'clock Malaysian, and 5 p.m. Hindu. So that gives you an idea of some of the cultures that we're dealing with. But this is the new Westminster Presbyterian Church. They moved about a mile away. I don't want this to get back to Australia, but it's one of the only one of two really healthy churches in the Perth area. Others are very small church plants. So pray. We're just really struggling as a denomination now. Again, not a bad place to write a book. And so that's Bustleton down south. Now, New Zealand has more churches, but they're very small, really small, and struggling to have all pastors in all of them. And so Auckland is up the north in the North Island. Christchurch, which you can see is there. I can't expand it too well, but there's North and South Island, and so I've been as far south as Christchurch. But Gail grew up in Auckland. I don't know if you knew that. Born in South Africa, raised in Auckland, New Zealand. Went back to South Africa for finishing high school and university, and then immigrated back to Australia when her parents immigrated to Australia while she was still in her last year at university. So we've and I think you all know, but I and the kids are dual citizens of Australia and the U.S. Gail is Australian. We hope to get her U.S. citizenship before we leave the country, but pray for that. That would be a help. This just, whoops, that's a typical view of New Zealand. The Southern Alps are in New Zealand, in the South Island, spectacular, beautiful. I went skiing at one of these mountains in July, obviously. Okay, we're at the end now. Where Kelly, are you there? Yeah. Okay. We'll show the video and then we'll just ask for any questions. This is just a recruiting video, so consider yourselves recruited. Okay, here we go. The sound is only music. Is there sound? Huh? Oh, I do.
It shouldn't be on that. It's on. You got that one? Yeah, I've got this. Okay. He's got the.
Quokka. All right. Do you have any questions? Yes, Kelly.
Are you taking fathers in the field there?
That is a dream. We have to look at the logistics. I mean, it would be absolutely fabulous, but starting a nonprofit there, not too dissimilar, but it would be starting from ground up, and so you have to start your own nonprofit in Australia. You can't. It's not a coordinated. But part of your support will go towards helping the potential of researching and potentially establishing it there. But there's a lot of things that would have to go into that, but would love to do it. It's not as much hunting there, but there, I say that, but there's a lot of fishing, a lot of outdoors. They love the outdoors, and so it would be very easy to adapt that ministry there. Yes?
Do they still have rail service in Australia?
Yes, they do. The Indian Pacific is one of the premier world recognized rails. So is the New Zealand one, North to South Island. Really very well done. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, Steve.
What's the
25.5 million in Australia, and off the top of my head, I can't remember, I think it's 6 million New Zealand. That sticks in my mind. But very helpful question for me to find out the statistics of that. But if you really start to narrow it down to evangelical Christians, Anglicans and Catholics were the first there. So you have a lot of those considered Christian religion, but evangelical Christians around 3 to 5%. They worship the sun in the outdoors. That is certainly Australia is known for that. They're sun-loving people. Yep.
I was going to say, it's considered post-Christian because it had a very strong missionary religious culture at one point, and then it's just gone. They're like, that's old school.
Yeah.
And it just moved off from Christianity, really. Yeah.
I mean, in the 45 years since I started first going to Australia, unbelievable decline. Although, I mean, it's unbelievable decline in our own country in that time period. But really, Australia has no Christian constitutional heritage, at least which to draw on. Yes, Mike.
I was just thinking too that, like we said before, government fix isn't going to do it. It has to be a Christian fix.
Yep.
But the thing with the government in Australia, it doesn't have any constitution or any guidelines. They've been run by people like we had the last go-around pretty much for the last number of years, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you thought the shutdown at COVID was bad here. Did you remember hearing in Australia? They were arrested on the street for drinking out of a straw. It was absolutely shut down. Of course, Gail's mom lived in south of Perth, 2 hours. You weren't even allowed to travel from Perth down within the state, and so it was big shutdown. So big government. Anyway, yep. Heather.
What is your 10-year plan? Will you be over there full-time?
The plan is,
3 different areas.
right, the plan will be that we will be down under 3 months of the year. And the other months we will be traveling to help recruit missionary teams to come. So I'll be visiting seminaries and Christian colleges around the country. The question we most often get, are you leaving Lander? We don't know. We would love to be able to keep our place, but we're not sure. That's in God's hands. So that will be something that will unfold over the next couple of years. The answer will probably take a couple years to really see what level of support and what we're able to do over the next year. Very high, very high. Young adult professionals cannot afford to buy homes at all. Not even, we could, our own family situation over there. By the way, where did that, there. That's Gail's, did you see that? That's Gail's family. Her 3 siblings and her mom, who turns 92 in July. And her father passed away about 5 or 6 years ago. So that's obviously one of the joys and the drawbacks. It's drawing us back. Yep, the old in-law slip of the tongue. It's drawing us back. But, as you know, Gail has sacrificed a lot to be here. And so it'd be a joy to be able to get her back to her family. Oh, yeah, Joe. Oh, thank you, yes. Okay, did you hear the question about timeline, time frame? Thank you. You have another question?
Is there a strong Mormon influence?
Absolutely, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Very strong Mormon, you heard that? Okay, very strong Mormon. All the charismatics movements, the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witnesses, absolutely, they were there in droves. Yep. Let's see, Gail. Oh,
So when you made this decision to go to Australia, did Kentucky come into play at all?
Kentucky, Gail's answer to every one of my faux pas is Kentucky. You know, he grew up in Kentucky. That answers about all the questions you need to know. But the mountains of Kentucky obviously were part of God's design in my life and part of Gail's growth in sanctification. Yeah. Yes.
Are there any strong Christian youth organizations?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, YWAM is very strong there. And that has, depending on where you are, that has, biblical foundation or not. Yes, really strong. Yes, that's true. Yep. Go ahead.
Before I came to the U.S., I was teaching in Christian schools, and all the school holidays, there were intervarsity Christian camps for kids at school. So there are, and Megan was very deeply involved in university. I forget which one it was called, whatever the particular one was.
Yep.
So they're there, and there are some vibrant churches. There are other denominations that are evangelical and vibrant.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, they're there if you look for them.
Yes, thank you.
No, you wouldn't consider Notre Dame.
No.
That one's in Fremantle. No, a public university, like Perth has 3 or 4 public universities in it, and it's pretty accessible, but very few that I know of. There may be some on the East Coast. I can't think of any.
I don't know if there are.
There are Christian schools because the government will support Christian schooling
Very strong.
to a certain
Yeah.
degree. And so that's very popular, even more than homeschooling, although that's taking off because the government does regulate some things in Christian schools. But there are big, strong Christian schools in Perth, yeah.
Yeah. Are the schools taxed? Are the schools taxed?
What do you mean by tax?
They.
I don't know. I know that the government gives a certain amount of money per student that goes to them, but you are required to teach the core curriculum that they set. You cannot run a school unless you teach the core curriculum and they accredit your teachers. Then you're allowed to add on stuff. So you can add into that program, but you sit the same exam and you teach out of the same curriculum as a public school, which is why homeschooling is increasing, but they also will fund it, so it's available, it's accessible to a lot more people, because it's not all private.
Yeah. The other thing that they do over there is they mandate what teachers make have to be paid, and so the government actually subsidizes the salaries of teachers in Christian schools. Yes, Steve.
As far as supporting you, will you be supported through the church here?
Thank you. Yes, and so you have the insert in your bulletin, and there is a QR code, but one of the things that our mission agency, Mission to the World, have graciously allowed for us in kind of the peculiar situation, we are kind of guinea pigs in this new kind of retirees that are going back to the field, and they are allowing local churches to collect the funds and distribute it to us. So our church is our collection center, and that means we don't have to pay the percentage to the organization to oversee that. And so it goes, If you want to write a check, you can write to the church with memos, MacNaughtons on mission, and you can give one time or monthly, yearly gifts or whatever, and information is on there. Kelly very wonderfully helped set this up, so I don't know all the answers to that, but we have, Kelly, you want to add anything from on high?
Yes. Yeah, so we could, if you use the online giving that has on it, it goes through our website and to Zephy. And Zephy, there are no fees. We are not having to pay any fees on those contributions online for the MacNaughtons. And so that's a great way to give. You can also set up monthly automatic gifts through them and all of those kind of donation methods.
Okay. Yes, Kelly.
Two questions.
Yep.
Do you have a place to live when you go there? And are you going to finish your book?
Which book? So the answer to the first question is temporarily. We have a place. We don't know when we're over there, just what it will look like in the, say in 27, when we plan to do our first extended stay over there. We're not sure yet. We may just have to rent like an Airbnb, a furnished place for 3 months. We've got friends that have granny flats, and that I'm staying at. Gail's family her sister has a bigger home, but that's it's not certain what the future of that place is, and so it's uncertain. But yeah, that's. And second question is intentions, Intentions. The question is, will I finish the book? And the book I'm writing about is Kentucky, and you know the title of it? Hillbilly Theology. Hillbilly Theology, Lessons Learned from My Old Kentucky Children's Home. So, so prayerfully, pray for that. I'm hoping to be able to devote some hours to that because I won't be preparing sermons every week. All right? We need to let families go, I think, and talk to us personally if you have any other questions. And thank you so much for already your kindness and support. Let me close in prayer. Lord, go with us, we pray, to our homes this afternoon, and may we relish what we have heard this morning from your word and from being challenged to go on mission, whether staying or going or giving. In praying, we ask this in Christ's name. Amen. Yes, sir.